Hello, and welcome to another episode of Creative Lifescaping, a LinkedIn Live and YouTube series about how you can use creativity to make your life better, even if you don't know how to sing happy birthday or paint a picture. This week, I'm super excited to invite my guest on, who is an expert in mental wellness and has a background of being a physician. She's a board certified family physician and certified health and wellness coach. Dr. Tomi Mitchell has over a decade of experience while running multiple businesses and being a mother and a wife, which are both, we know, full-time jobs. She's also a speaker, podcaster, and a writer. And she transforms her clients' life, focusing on holistic wellness strategies that offer practical opportunities for clients to overcome personal challenges, deepen relationships, and live a more empowered life. She's dedicated her career to helping individuals understand the importance of mental health and how it is a huge proactive factor for reducing and preventing burnout. We know a lot about that in my industry in the veterinary space, and I'm excited to talk to her more about that. And she's been featured multiple times in Thrive Global and Kevin MD, and is an executive contributor to Brains Magazine, just to name a few. So thank you so much, Dr. Tomi Mitchell, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, I love that we connected, and that's one thing I love about social media. People give it a hard rap sometimes, but that's how we connected, and we have so many synergies.
Yes, 100%.
So I always start with asking people. So you started your, I understand, maybe I have this wrong, but did you start your career as a physician? And is that what you wanted to do as a kid? Tell me a little bit about mini Dr. Tomi.
Yeah, so mini Dr. Tomi was about 6 years old, and parents have that conversation. What do you want to be? Do you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, accountant, etc., etc.? Then I said, I don't know. And then I got older, like 8 or 9. You're gonna be a doctor, because my dad's a doctor. So my parents brainwashed me. That's the truth. And I became a family physician by choice, actually, because I wanted a specialty where I have a broad knowledge base, where I believe I could be a biggest blessing for me and my future family. So family practice was first.
Great. So did you, when you look back, do you consider yourself as, did you think you were creative as a child?
I was, because I lived in my imagination. That's how I got through hardship, because I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. My parents were immigrants, and we moved multiple times, and that's a tough journey. So I just dreamed of my future life and the world I wanted, and I lived in my vicariously through my mind. That's how I got through. So yes, I am creative.
I love that. And so what kind of things did you dream about? Like, what did the world look like in your dreams? Do you remember?
Yeah, just a future family, a better place to live, what I do want to do with my future kids, my future husband, my future life. I wanted to make an impact on the world in a global scale. I just literally lived my life, because at a young age, till I experienced many challenges, and even as a young adult, I had to experience, and creativity was what helped me. Well, part of what helped me get through them. And even to this day, with the present situation, creativity is a huge coping strategy for me.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so what does creativity mean to you when you say it's a huge coping strategy? Is it still that imagination piece, or is there something different as an adult you do that's creative?
Well, as a child, it's an imagination, because you're not working per se. You don't have a job, you don't have income. However, as an adult, it's now a reality, since I stepped to my authentic self fully over the past year. So I'm actually living the life that I dreamed, or at least starting to, in various aspects of my wellness.
That's fantastic. But it didn't come easily for you. So you talk openly about your burnout from being a physician. So maybe if you want to tell us a little bit about what happened, and then what key factors helped you recover from that?
Yeah, so not type A per se, but kind of. I grew up in a family where my dad said, you must be 10 times better than your colleagues before they say that you're good. Not even twice. He said 10. So I kind of took that to heart, and I worked incredibly long hours. Mm-hmm. I was very generous with my time. I did that for a decade running. At that point, I had 2 businesses, and I had 2 pregnancies, which were both challenging. and near-death experiences for me and my daughter, then a pandemic, and then I finally realized I was burnt out. I was done.
So the burnout happened during the pandemic.
Yes, that's when I came to terms with it. Though people had been warning me, saying, "Oh, Dr. Mitchell, I worry about you. You're going to be so tired. Like, what are you going to do?" But at that point, I think my social supports were pretty strong. I didn't have the world's restrictions. But then when you took my social supports in the pandemic, daycare being hit or miss, my husband being away, can't see your family, can't have people in your house for fear of COVID, well, then that stripped me bare. And then definitely burnout became an issue.
So kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so what happened? So you had this burnout experience, and did you immediately know and you had some other businesses as well. Did you immediately know you wanted to go into coaching? Like, tell me about that messy middle.
Yeah. So I've known I wanted to be in coaching years prior, because I take some coaching, like a coaching program, which wasn't a huge program. It was just like, okay, I like this. And I just kind of made my coaching Insta page. Didn't really do much of it. Didn't know my niche. Didn't understand a lot of things, but I knew that this is really where I wanted to go. But then March 2020 came with, at that point, my baby was like 3 or 4 months, and I had a toddler. And one of my businesses was shut down because it was non-essential. Right. So I had all this free time, with a 3-month-old and a toddler and her husband being away. So
it's like free time to me.
I know, all that free time, right? Pumping and listening to class and nursing on the other side. That was mom life. So I did it. I embarked in a major coaching program, or programs actually. I've taken 4, completed 4, still working on others, lifelong learner. So that's what I did. And it it helped prepare me for my eventual realization that I was human. Well, I knew I was human, but me basically falling apart, being utterly exhausted. Because remember, that year I'd almost died. My child had almost died. There was lots of traumas up to that point, but I kept on going. But then it was, COVID exposures and work and just realization that my life had been a struggle, and then coming to terms with it. And I was like, no, I've lost my pep. I feel so frustrated. My patience is very thin. And I look at my children, I'm like, what are you getting from me? Scraps. And I felt horrible knowing that I had fought so much to bring them into this world. And frankly, those of you listening, your work will replace you. Doesn't matter who you are. And I realized that they'll find somebody else. You're replaceable. Fact is, but you're not replaceable to your family. So that was really something I knew, but it really sunk in. And I gave myself grace to be human and heal. And actually my coaching programs and my training helped me actually along the way. I was basically treating myself.
Well, don't they say that a lot about people who go into a specialty or a field because, it helps them while they're helping others. And it sounds like
exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly what's happening to me as I practice what I preach. So when I tell my clients, look, you might think I'm being, I'm firm, but I know this works. I know you can do this. And when I talk to you, I'm also talking to myself. So I'm not asking you to do anything I am not willing to do. And I freely say that. I put it out there. So it's not like Dr. Mitchell is full of herself. No, I am practicing what I preach.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that you mentioned kind of in passing was your businesses. So I'd love to know, having multiple, what made you open businesses? Was that before or after you were burnt out, or a physician, or just tell me all these pieces you're juggling?
So I have 3 businesses. One was a medical practice, because after working with other groups, realizing that their philosophy, mission, vision did not align with my values, I was like, I would rather be broke than work in a place where it didn't align with my values and provide the care I wanted to give in a healthy, inclusive environment. So after a year, just over a year and a bit of being a brand new fresh grad, I think I was like 26, 27, I purchased my own building and I opened up shop.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you do that? How did a lot of people in my network are veterinarians, and they might be in a similar place, or physicians or coaches who are looking at investing a huge amount in their business. So, I mean, this goes for creativity as well. But like, how did you make that leap? Like, that's a big leap at that age.
It
So, what were you
was.
thinking?
Well, I looked at leases and it was so hard to find the space. And I was like, I grew up in a family where the mentality is you buy once you have a chance. So again, I bought and I built on it the following year after opening. And yeah.
So, do you still have that business? And
Oh yeah, I still own the building.
Yeah. And so, in retrospect, do you think that was a good plan? Would that be
It
something?
was a good plan where I was at that point. This is the other thing. I'm very real and raw. So at that prior to buying it, I just kind of in process of separating from a very abusive, toxic relationship, right? So work was my escape partially. Like there was nothing to go home to. And also having that weight of bearing a financial burden myself, and there was a huge need for physicians, I took it upon myself to save the world, and my practice ballooned to, like, I think at one point it was 4,800 patients.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. And yeah, that is a lot. And so when you talk about you wanted to help the world, one of the things that I read on your website, which I'm just going to put up right here so people can know where they can find you at holisticwellnessstrategies.com, you talk about putting what you need to do to create a better world for your daughters. And so what do you think needs to happen? And obviously you're the type of person who can take a risk and take a chance and bet on yourself. What do you think we need to do collectively or individually to make a better world?
Yeah, we all need to embrace our humanity. We need to go back to the golden rules, do unto others, and we need to be accountable for our actions. Like this idea of it's my life, my choices don't affect others. Depending on where you live, like in Canada, it's very much the government people have the mentality, that the government takes care of everything. There's no self-responsibility. They don't accept it. That is hurting us tremendously. And I see it, as a late stage millennial, right? I've seen the changes in society from when I was a little girl to now. And perhaps those issues were already there, but I believe the access to internet and social media, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, was able to amplify it. So we need to be accountable to our earth. We need to know the imprint we're leaving on our earth, the relationships we keep with others. We need to be people of integrity who care about each other and who are honestly making a conscious decision every day to do better. Because if we don't, the privilege we have in living in this part of the world, it is going to be disappearing. Quality of life will continue to go down. And that worries me. It worried me then, but it worries me even more today. But not worried till I lose sleep. I don't lose sleep over this because I know what I can do to help create my children's world, at least their own microsystem, make it a better place. But not everyone has the support that my kids will have, the kind of parents they have, the kind of grandparents they have, right? So that's my concern.
So, yeah, and I have the same concerns. I'm like you. I try not to lose sleep over it because you can do what you can do.
Exactly.
And so maybe give me like some of the examples that are coming to mind is like, I like to hang my laundry up whenever I can, even inside. I don't do it every time. But that's something that I try to do. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about? Or what are you talking about specifically, like as individually or as a family that you do to try to help move that needle a little bit every day?
Yeah, many things. Like I know at one point I had diesel cars, which I thought were clean burning, but I found out the manufacturers weren't. But I mean, I try to make choices in mind to leave a less of an imprint. I don't go to the grocery store every week running for things. I stock up, I plan ahead. I plant. I keep like greenery in my house. I have a garden, right? Where we can walk, we walk. Now, I live in the frozen tundra of the north in Saskatchewan, at least right now. It's not my future life. I don't accept that. But it's cold, so there's only so much walking you can do.
Mhm.
Well, obviously, I don't smoke. I'm not polluting the air. I'm not buying in fashion clothes
Mhm.
just for the sake of buying them and throwing them in the dumpster. I buy quality,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? It's those
And
things.
and these are all things that other people can do. And what, I think
Exactly.
everybody has a different thing that they do. Like one person might not want to hang their laundry, but they might, plant a garden and grow their own groceries or grow their own produce and things like that. So
And
we
I
can
do
all do
hang a lot of
something.
laundry. Like you, I do hang a lot. It's actually better for your clothes,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love it. And I love the smell of clothes on the line. I don't know why. It's weird, but
Nice.
um, yeah. So also I wanted to ask about, so one of the things that often holds people back, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is people hold back from making changes, especially from like a professional career, like a physician or a lawyer or something, to something
Yes.
different, because of the fear of judgment from other
Oh,
people,
yeah.
and they think it's weird. So how did your colleagues react when you left well, I don't know if you completely left the profession.
Yeah.
Tell me
Well,
more about that piece.
yeah, for sure, with pleasure. So I've had judgment my entire life,
Mm,
right? So I was always the odd duck in my class, the one that didn't look like the others. So I was very aware of my differences. So
mm,
that didn't bother me. So at that point, I've had three careers. So the family practice, and then I went into aesthetic medicine, which is like Botox fillers, skincare. And that was a judgment. I definitely heard, oh, you're in that from both
oh,
colleagues and patients, right? I'm
mm,
just like, "Well, you don't understand my bigger picture, my goal, so whatever." But
mhm,
it was hurtful. And then with this, honestly, it's like crickets.
mhm.
I'm a leader. Okay, I don't hang with the pack. The pack. I'm too. I guess I make people feel uncomfortable because I'm free of myself. I don't let my title, the MD, limit me. I am
Mhm.
joyful. Like, if you see me, you either hear me dance, well, see me singing, hear me dancing, laughing. Like, when I'm in a building, the energy is up.
And does that threaten people who are in in your
Yes,
profession?
yes.
So I can relate to that a little bit myself. So when I do my public speaking, I try to make it fun and relatable and like critical elements that are understandable. And when I speak in an academic environment, sometimes I get pushback because I'm not boring enough and I didn't have enough like bullets on my PowerPoint.
On the
So do
clinical
you feel like
trials,
that? Sorry?
enough clinical trials and research.
Well,
And
but I do present the research, but
yeah,
not in the boring like way.
uh-huh.
I
I,
present it in a different way, and sometimes I feel like, well, we see things that are ambiguous as a threat response. So I think the people who are like, well, a serious academician, or if that's the right word, or a serious
Mhm.
physician or veterinarian looks like this. I mean, we have the
Yeah,
same thing with leaderships, right? Like leaders should look like this, whether it's effective
yes.
or not. That's our paradigm. And so if someone steps out of that paradigm, it threatens us. And so I like that. Would you relate to that as a physician?
100%, 100%. I honestly, I just look at them, I'm like, whatever. Like, if you want to be miserable and complain about the same things and don't make a change, that's on you. But I'm living this life and grabbing the bull by the horns.
And
And
so
I'm enjoying my life. Doesn't mean I don't have challenges. I do.
Mhm,
But I know
mhm.
there's solutions and it's patience, and challenges make you stronger. When you solve a problem, that brings happiness. So it's like a feedback loop. So that's
Right.
what I do. I look at the bigger picture and keep on going.
And you said a key thing there. You said that, when patients were criticizing your aesthetics business, it was hurtful, but you did it
Yes,
anyway, and you
yes,
you don't care. So there are so many people out there who are in a traditional career like vet or physician or lawyer or
yeah.
accountant who might want to make a change, but don't have that strength of conviction of just doing it anyway, even though it hurts. So I'd love to know, is it practice? Is it because of your challenges as a kid that got you there? Or what would you tell someone who hasn't had those mixed blessings of practicing learning to not care what people think, right? Like,
Yeah.
I guess my question is, how would you tell someone to kind of get to that point where they can care less about what other people think?
Yeah, it still hurts. Don't get me wrong. I wear my like I'm a loyal, kind person, and majority of people don't understand the pressures running a business, especially in healthcare, where they feel it's like their taxpayers' dollars pay for everything, and everything should be ready for them when they want it. But it's not. I'm fee for service. If I don't work, I don't get paid, and bills pile up. And some payments as a physician, spoiler alert, is not that great. It actually really royally sucks. And especially when you're doing a thorough job and taking your time, you don't get paid more to do more. It's same Peasley pay. And that doesn't keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as they complain, I'm like, well, and also as for many lawyers and other people who are independent and doctors and other professionals, when you have a child, you don't get maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
You have to save. Well, it's really hard to save when you have payroll every month and a mortgage and expenses and taxes and all that jazz, and your income is zero, but you have expenses every day. So that really changes your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back to work a week after having a child, though I didn't work full time, but I still was in the office.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my situation was unique. But honestly, leadership is a lonely place. It really can, until you find your tribe. And frankly, I'm finding my tribe during the pandemic. Like, I met this lovely lady during the pandemic. I put out I literally search people that look like act like me and think like me. And I'll be like, hey, how's it going? But that is what I do. Because if you just look in your little city, wherever you live, and think that's where your only social people will be, you're limiting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to develop thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you're not going to survive in business, because even the greatest people in business, they have haters. Elon Musk has a lot of haters. Jeff Bezos has a lot of haters. Mark Zuckerberg, a ton of haters. But does that stop them from moving forward? No. It's life.
And so it sounds like one of the key elements you're talking about is building a community of other people who don't care. And we see other people getting results when they are less, inclined to worry about what other people think, then it empowers you to try as well.
Exactly.
I wanted to mention also, so for anybody who's joining us late, I'm interviewing Dr. Tomi Mitchell, who's a physician, coach, author, speaker, mental wellness advocate, and she is explaining her trip through burnout and how she manages to continue to move forward despite the judgment of her peers and other people. You have a group virtual wellness, a group coaching program. Tell me a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yes. So I am partnering with a nonprofit organization out of Alberta, but I'm spearheading the training piece. It's 6 months weekly coaching. We'll take breaks over Christmas, and we're charging $0. So yeah, this is weekly group coaching for an hour, and we're going through the fundamentals, because there's a huge knowledge gap in mental health and wellness. And initially the target was young adults, but really I've opened it up to anybody. And seriously, you can get a taste of this and learn. And I'm getting amazing feedback, which is encouraging. But the fact is, I'm not going to be doing free forever. This is your time. You have 6 months to join, get in, learn. And if you want to learn more and do one-on-one coaching with me, that's an option too. So I'm giving back, because this is the thing, what I know in life. I live in my dreams, and I know this business is going to grow and grow and grow. And what happens when you're on that journey? Some people are like, well, how come you just charge? How come this and this? Well, I can tell, look, this is my track record. This is what I provided back to the community, free of charge. Okay, here are my free resources. Here's my podcast. Here's my email list. You can take it. But if you want more, here's the price. It's business. It's and people need to learn, because there's a huge gap in knowledge. And if this impacts, let's say, 200 people, and then they go back and impact their families and communities, my daughter's world is suddenly a tad bit better.
Yeah.
So this is worth the investment.
It sounds like it also aligns with your values of giving back and making the world a better place, but also with the reality of you have a mortgage and a family and you have
Exactly.
to live your life. So, I mean, I think
Exactly.
that's one of the hardest. And as veterinary professionals often struggle with that is this values alignment between wanting to help treat a patient and then people, unable or unwilling to pay for it. And we get some of that pushback of like, well, we don't pay for our own health. Like I think people are genuinely ignorant, and I don't mean ignorant like they just don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, they assume that probably, Dr. Tomi, that the government gives you an office and you just show up to work and get a salary, right? Like I don't know what
Oh
they think.
yeah. Yeah, I
So
wish. No, not even close. Absolutely not. And I'm very frank with people, and I tell them, I'll be like, look, I'll do a game with them. I'll be like, how much do you really think I get paid for this service? And they pipe off hundreds in the hundreds. And I'm like, under $40. And out of that, I pay my expenses.
yeah.
They were like jaw drops. I'm like, exactly. And I'll say, when you do medicine, primary practice in a holistic way, and you take your time with your patients, it's not a money grab at all. And I go as far as saying this is my charitable contribution to the world because I have helped save the government millions of dollars, if not close to billions.
And that would be hard as a value. So one of the struggles a lot of people have in veterinary medicine is an animal comes in for an ear infection and they had their full physical 2 months prior. A lot of veterinarians will do like a full physical exam. And I'm like, why are we, and like they book them for 30-minute appointments. And it's like, there's animals coming out of the yin yang, like nobody can get in to see an appointment. And it really needs some innovation. And it sounds like a human physician could use some innovation as well to try to find a way to make it more sustainable where you can practice the way you want to with your patients, but still be compensated for it.
Well, Canada is a two-tiered system, whether our governments like to admit it, because there are fee-for-service physicians who get paid X dollars for every patient they see, regardless of the outcomes. And there are also salaried physicians who get a really fat salary compared to the number of hours and time they have to put in. So, it can be as much as there are positions where you can work in the hospital and in 1 week make more than what I would make in 6 weeks without the overhead. So tell me if I'm doing this for money. When people say that to me, it annoys me because my children did not get 18 months with their mother or a year, right, of maternity leave. And I'm past the point of being overly concerned about people's feelings because the knowledge, the information is out there. If you want to continue to throw your judgment, that's your call. But I'm going to live my life and be authentic and be here for my purpose on this earth, regardless of your feelings.
And that's so hard. I mean, so much burnout in our profession is for people who do take that on. They hear the one client out of 50 that says, you must hate animals. Why aren't you doing this for free?
Oh, yeah.
People will say that. Rarely. But that's the one we remember. And then that's what leads to burnout is just not having the time to spend with the patients that we need and not feeling appreciated and not feeling like we're making a difference. So what are like one or two things that can help people get to that place where you're at to be like, I don't care so much about people's feelings anymore because I know I'm doing the right thing? How do you get there?
You have to embrace yourself as a human being, the past, present, and your future, and really ask yourself, what do you really want in this life? You only have one life to live. And clearly write this down. Like itemize it, whether relationships, wealth, environment, passions, purpose, like put it down. And then figure out what you need to clear out the way to get there. I am not saying quit your day job. Do not. Okay? But make a conscious effort to work towards it. And it's very important to find the support and accountability. So many people say they want to have an online business, they want to have this, and they have zero business skills. They have like very little knowledge about what it really takes. That's why the majority of businesses don't last like a year, even 5 years.
Yeah.
I think it's easy because they just think if there's tax write-off, it's just your come. I'm like, no, it's not. If you're not used to working hard in your job currently, spoiler alert, you're gonna have a hard time in your business.
And self-motivated, like it's not like someone
Yes.
handing you something. You've got to self-direct and basically live completely out of your comfort zone all the time, because
Yes.
you're always learning and always moving and always pushing. So is
Yeah.
that the kind of thing when you talk about finding accountability and like finding out what your blocks are, is that the type of thing that you do with your coaching? And is that the type of thing people would expect from this free group coaching program?
100%. You will get accountability. You will get homework. You'll have to reflect, and the consistency. It's pretty much weekly for 6 months.
So what kind of struggle, what kind of pain, like I know you said it's open to many different people, but
Yeah.
what are the things that people would be saying to themselves that would make them a good candidate for this program? Like, I just wish, or, things are.
This is what I see the most right now. People are saying, oh, they're so tired, work is stressing them out. And I'll tell you, work is only part of the problem. You have to look back at yourself. What are you doing to contribute to this? Are you honoring your temple? Are you exercising on a consistent basis? Do you maintain a healthy weight? What is your nutrition level like? Hydration? How is your attitude? Like, there are so many things that are in your control. How are you feeding your mind? That's intellectual wellness. Are you doing self-development? Are you reading, learning, podcasts? If the answer is no, and you're blaming work, I'm sorry to say, the responsibility is largely on us. Now, there are some cases where it's not, but for majority of professionals, it's on us.
So it sounds like it's for anybody who's wanting to make a change,
Exactly.
who's either struggled to do it on their own, but are willing to, they might not know how, but they're willing to do the work to look inward and to make some changes incrementally to change their life in the long term. Is that
100%. And they have to do the work. For me, I don't work with anybody, not everybody. Because if I get the impression that you're not willing to do the work, that you're not taking this seriously, that you don't have that zeal, then I don't want you to work with me one-on-one. It will be a bad mix because all my clients have success and I like to keep it that way. I'll say first.
But you know what the key, it sounds like you can identify the elements that make
100%
much more likely to be successful.
Yes, you sure can.
I love that. Awesome. Well, this has been fantastic. We're over time as usual because I just do what I want. This is my interview.
Exactly.
So I've got your free group approaching up there. I'll put it also in the LinkedIn event so that people can find that. But they can probably also find you through your website, holisticwellnessstrategies.com. Your Instagram is beautiful, by the way.
Yeah.
And you can find you on Facebook as well. I am not going to forget about the dare. So, of course, Dr. Tomi, and true style for her personality, chose the dare. At the end of each interview, I ask truth or dare, and you can either share a story that kind of embarrassed you or something, or you can do a dare. And so when I saw dare, I was like, ooh, and then I couldn't think of one. I wasn't being very creative, but I would like you to think of one of your favorite songs. I'm not going to make you sing. Don't worry, but you can if you want to. But
okay.
What's one of your favorite? Tell me what it is.
Good question. Ooh. I'm like drawing a blank.
Could be any song, a kid's lullaby, or
yeah.
I know it's hard when you're on the spot. Hey,
I know. I definitely listen to a lot of kids' lullabies. That's
okay. And just pick one of those. Don't.
Okay, I got one.
One of my habits. Just to quickly, one of my habits is edit later. Right. So when we're talking about creativity, you got to stop overthinking it. So what was the first song?
I have one. You want it?
Yeah.
Say it.
Say it. Yeah.
Oh, or sing it.
No, it's just say it. Tell me the song.
Okay. It's called "I Love You, You Love Me."
Okay. So what I want you to do is sing it with your hands.
Okay.
Clap or snap or whatever floats your boat.
All right. Yes, that's my song. I sing to my girls every day.
Dr. Tomi, that was beautiful. I love the creative elements and I love how you just kind of go with what feels right. And I think at the end of the day, you are helping the world and people that work with you find their way to become their authentic selves and to stop worrying so much about what the world thinks and build the life that you want. Because we only have one ride on this little bit of earth,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I will put some notes in the event here about where people can find you. Is there anything else you want to share with people as last parting words?
Yeah, it's a new year upon us. Let's make this the best year yet. Don't be so focused on what's happening in the world because people are busy, worried, and anxious, and I know there's reason to worry, there are others who are grinding and making a difference despite the uncertainty. It's life.
Mhm.
Just and if you need help, please seek help.
Mhm.
And the majority of people do. It's burnout stats is at least in some professions it's over 70%. So if you don't think you're burnt out, and especially when you're still in the middle of your career, you might want to look deeper.
And maybe prevent it rather than wait until
Yes,
you get a
prevent.
wall, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Don't hit the wall.
Well, I'm excited about your free group coaching program and hearing how that goes. Like, what a gift to the world. And anybody who's watching that joins that is going to be, I'm sure, I know, blown away and we'll see true changes in their life. So thank you so much, Dr. Tomi. This was so much fun. I love your energy and your enthusiasm. I'm going to go have a nap. After that lullaby, I'm all like,
I know.
oh.
My girls.
Thank you so much.